Good morning to everyone. Welcome to the May 23rd, 2023 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. We are very glad you're with us today, and for those watching online, we're also glad you're with us. We will begin, as we always do, with an invocation, and Reverend David Clifford from Henderson First Christian Church is with us. Please stand.
Thank you, Judge. Will you pray with me, please? Gracious and loving God, we are thankful and grateful for this day, for this community in which we call home, that we share with our friends, our families, our neighbors. We're reminded, O God, that your words through Christ reveal to us a lifestyle of serving one another before ourselves. So I ask for all these elected officials and all those that will come before the court this day that they would remember that in all the decisions and the various business that they will be attending to this day. We thank you for Henderson, O God, and we ask that you continue to guide us in making it a better community, not just for ourselves, but for our families, our friends, our neighbors, and all those who would pass through. In Christ's name we pray all this. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, David. Appreciate that. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Master Starks?
Here.
Master Berry?
Here.
Master Putman?
Here.
Master Tompkins?
Here.
And Master Southern?
Here.
Thank you. And gentlemen, you have before you in your packets the minutes of the May 9th, 2023 Fiscal Court meeting. After a period of review, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any other clarifications, corrections, or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have a busy schedule, a lot of good stuff on the agenda, and we're going to begin with our friend from the Tourism Office, Director Abby Dixon, and Andy Rideout from the Extension Office, and also representing the Friends of Audubon for a presentation related to the proposed conference center. Abby, I'll give you the floor.
Yes, that's right. Thank you all so much for having me. As Judge said, I'm Abby Dixon. I'm the Executive Director of the Tourist Commission. And I brought with me a friend. We're kind of on a roadshow tour these days. Andy Rideout from the Extension Office and representing Friends of Audubon today. So we want to update you all on a project that's catching a lot of buzz in the community lately. I'll direct you to our visuals over here from Tim Skinner. So it's been a vision of the Friends of Audubon for over a decade now to build a conference center at the park. You all know our state park is such a gem. Actually, I just got some research back from the State Department of Tourism, and of our entire region, the #1 most visited attraction is not in Owensboro, it's not in Madisonville, it's Audubon State Park. So I think this is a destination worth investing in. So we're excited to see the vision that the Friends have. So kind of what got us to this point was some momentum with the project. The state legislature had budgeted $150 million towards what we understood to be improvement projects at the state park, at the state parks across the state. So that's significant. You all know there's a lot of deferred maintenance that needs to be done around our state park system. So after a meeting, maybe a month or so ago, sometime in April, with some key leaders, we had the Tourism Cabinet Secretary Lindy Casebeer came down, Senator Mills was there, Judge was there, Mayor Staten was there, folks from the Friends of Audubon, staff at the state park. It was a really great meeting. We sat down to talk about, okay, what is the feasibility that this could actually happen, that this could be a project that the state would include in the budget. And after that meeting, I think we all felt really positive about the direction that we were headed in. One thing that we did learn in the meeting was really the way that legislation was written. The $150 million is meant for deferred maintenance projects only and not necessarily new projects at the state parks. But that's okay because there was so much excitement at this meeting that there's some indication that this could be its own line item in the state budget if it seemed like that was the way that we wanted to go. Some of the conversation around the project would be a 50-50 match situation, so 50% the state and then 50% local government to bring this project to fruition. We're looking at around $12 to $15 million, so obviously that's a significant amount of money for us to invest on the local level and at the state level. So we want to make sure that this is a wise path to continue to go down. So the next step of this project would be a feasibility study. Is it marketable? Is it something that wouldn't cost us money in the long run? Would it be utilized by the community and by visitors? Of course, we're hopeful that those results would say yes, but we want to be wise in the investment. So talking a little bit about the feasibility study, the firm that we've identified is Henderson Strategic Partners. You all might be familiar with that name. This is the company that did the feasibility study for us on the sports complex several years ago, and we've broken ground on that, which is very exciting. And then they also led us through the boutique hotel feasibility study that wrapped up last year. So a couple of reasons why we feel like Henderson is the best pick for the firm to work with. One, they already have a lot of the demographic information about Henderson. They're familiar with our community. But I think even more than that, they have the contract with the Kentucky Department of Tourism. So what that means, there are Tourism Development Act incentives. So similar to economic development incentives that run through this cabinet alone. So if I were to say I'm going to open a distillery that's really a tourism attraction, if I went through the state to get some of these incentives, the state would hire Henderson to determine what the economic impact would be. So I say all that to say, if we go to Frankfurt, and the A&R committee starts meeting in September, so we have to kind of act on this quickly. If we go to Frankfurt and we say, we've done the feasibility study, it all looks positive, and Henderson is the firm that led it, we have some credibility. We're using the firm that the folks in Frankfurt have determined to be the experts. So the study costs $52,000, which I think is a wise investment to drive our path forward. Again, we want to make sure that this is a smart decision for our community. The way that we're kind of looking at the breakdown, and it's a group of community members along with Friends of Audubon that are working on this, would be, actually, I'm getting into, Andy, I'm still in your thunder here. But I'll say the Economic Development Board, the Tourism Board, and the Chamber of Commerce have all committed $5,000, and Friends of Audubon have committed $7,000. So now I'm going to turn it over to Andy for the fun stuff.
And as she said, I'm here representing Friends of Audubon, and we have committed a significant amount of money, in upwards of $50,000 in some renderings and some site development and site work and so forth, looking at this project. And it's been on the radar, like she said, for a decade or more. When this money came into the park system, that's what really got this on the fast track. And like she said also, we're looking at going in front of the A&R committee in September and pitching this whole project to the state, and we've got really good signs and some soft commitments that we're going to make this happen. So to do that, we need this feasibility study, and that's what we're here today for, is not to ask you to build the conference center, but to ask you to make that wise decision that we can get some data to support this and make sure we're good. So as she said, Friends of Audubon, they're well known for getting the big projects done. If you remember, the wetland project was a big project. Robbie Williams, big supporter of all that, and pushed it. He's on the board with all this also, as well as several other members in the community that sit on the Friends of Audubon board. And so we feel like Henderson's really partnered up well already, and we want you guys to be part of it too. So I'm here to ask for the money, and that's our main goal, is to get this feasibility study funded, and we're asking the city and the county today to put in $15,000 on this $52,000 feasibility study. And we feel like it's a wise investment, a good investment, and even if it comes back negative and the project dies, we need to know that, as well as we need to know that it is a good investment. So we need to do this, and we need to have it when we go to Frankfurt to ask them to fund half of the big project. So that's what we're here for today.
One thing I would add, I think one of the really important things about this study and this partnership when we go to Frankfurt is showing the community collaboration behind this. I mean, you all know Henderson could write the book for community collaboration, and I think showing the Friends are on board with this, the Tourist Commission, Economic Development, the Chamber, the city, and the county, if we're all working on this together, I think that speaks volumes in Frankfurt.
Even Lindy Casebeer made the comment that this project with all the community members checks all the boxes. And he got really excited about it. And that made us all feel good and feel like this project's got some good momentum right now.
Any questions we can answer?
I'll put some things in perspective for the new members. There's precedent for this. We contributed $15,000 to a feasibility study for the aquatic center idea, and that was used to, I think, bring home the fact that it was going to be a very expensive ongoing project, and it informed a lot of decisions after that. And I think we all understand that there's a great chance eventually that the Friends of Audubon and other representatives will probably be coming back to us to make some sort of ask for this if the feasibility study, I think, reveals that it's a viable project. But until that time, I think, talking with Mayor Staten a while ago, that a feasibility study is absolutely necessary. We can't make a blind contribution of several $1 million without some sort of indication from some expert that this has legs and can sustain itself, especially. So I think personally, I think it'd be wise on our part to help fund the feasibility study and see what it says. It's not a slam dunk that this will actually happen, the conference center. I think it's tentative at best, I think, at this point. However, a feasibility study will hopefully confirm some things that we hope it shows, including sustainability. So that's my thought. The Finance Committee met yesterday, talked a little bit about this.
Yeah. Judge, I do have one question. I think I asked it yesterday. In this feasibility study, will it show ongoing maintenance cost or project what that would look like going out? I know we're talking about usage and
Yes.
stuff like that, but
And-
is
and-
that considered?
Abby would probably be able to explain the inclusion of that better, but I'll make the comment that as of right now, the plan is the state will be handling ongoing maintenance, staffing, and the risk of loss or profit off of this also, which makes it a great deal long-term for us as a county.
Well, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the state was handling it, state
So
part.
that's the plan, but is it,
Yeah,
is it?
exactly. That's the plan.
Is there any commitment?
Is there any commitment? Because
Right now, what we're just asking for the feasibility
Yeah.
study so it can be taken for further consideration.
Yeah.
So there are no commitments on anyone's end at this point. I will say, I know that the state has experience in running conference centers. Lake Barkley has a conference center right now, and our Parks Director, David Miller, just spent 7 years at Lake Barkley. So I know he would be the expert in determining what those numbers would be for staffing and ongoing maintenance for a facility like this. But right now, we're just talking about a feasibility study, not a plan for long-term maintenance and operations.
But the aquatic center feasibility study did include some projections on ongoing costs as part of its collection of data, and I would very much appreciate it if those were taken into account in the feasibility study. I'm sure they will be.
They will be.
Yeah.
The same went for the boutique hotel. They kind of laid out what you could expect for ongoing operations. And one thing that I failed to mention, this study would also include, they'll look at the demographic and probably what the clientele would be for a conference center like this, and then they'll look at our lodging inventory to accommodate these folks. So we're thinking that we will probably need to add a hotel or two to our inventory, and that this would also be a good selling point for some potential developers that there are some that are already looking at the area. This could be something that could kind of push them over the edge to make that jump and decide to develop a new hotel in Henderson. You know, on that note, we keep talking about viability of the Strip, 41, after, you know, the changes that come with I-69. And it'll be interesting to see how this could play into that 41 forward plan that the Planning Commission has worked on. We need 41 to stay alive. So I'm excited to see not only, you know, what could come from a conference center, but adding new hotel developments too.
And perhaps the feasibility study will address that a bit as well.
It will.
You know, I forgot, I said in on a meeting on this earlier. What was the capacity of this center going to be?
400.
400.
And that's at like a dinner reception round
Yeah,
tables. So
got
with
it.
the breakout rooms, and if you did like classroom style, it would accommodate more than that.
I heard that, I just forgot. I just was verifying that. So, thank you.
Yeah.
The 15,000 is not a problem for us. We have the money for that. That's not an issue. But I welcome any other questions.
And would this also include the additional access to the state park as well?
Yeah, the feasibility money will not. However, the Friends of Alderman have purchased an option to purchase some property behind Henderson Chevy. And even though we didn't need it for the access road, but it's really close there. So anyway, we've got that on the board for future development potential. But the total $15 million project does include the access road out to Watson Lane.
Thank you.
But again, that's skipping ahead some. We're going
Right.
to focus on what this feasibility study says. And I don't think there's any way we can move forward on this project without a feasibility study.
You know, I'll say this, and then I will stop. I think this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to at least have the option to explore the possibility of a project like this. You all know it takes the right people in place at the right time with just the right climate, and we have some real momentum going here in Henderson. I would hate for us to miss out on at least exploring the option to bring something like this to our community, what it means for our community members as an amenity, but also tourism dollars coming into our community. It's not insignificant. So I'm hopeful that the county will partner with us on this, and I look forward to seeing what the results are.
Judge, I would make the motion that we give the $15,000 for the feasibility study. I want to say if the city is in on the $15,000, you know, if they're willing
Pending
to
their approval as
Pending
well.
their approval. There you go. That's the words I was looking for.
So we have a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. This money would be paid to the Tourist Commission. You're going to be organizing the feasibility study if we get approval from the City Commission as well, according to this motion. Any other questions? Any other discussion? So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We will
Thanks
be
for
in
having
touch
us
shortly.
today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
One quick question. Do you anticipate a contract being signed with Hunden before the end of June?
Yes, honestly, I would like to sign that contract tomorrow, because when we look at the 90-day, we've got to be ready for A&R in September. So time is kind of the essence
Okay.
with this.
All righty. So please be getting us an invoice, depending on what the city does this evening.
Yes.
As quickly as possible so we can get that done.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Andy.
Next, representatives from Salvation Army are here. We appreciate them joining us. And Stephen Story and Roy Pullum, representing Salvation Army, I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We are thankful for the opportunity to stand before you this morning. My name is Major Stephen Story. My wife Sandra and I are the ministers and administrators for the Salvation Army here in Henderson. We moved here a year ago and are glad to be a part of this community. The reason I am here today and have board member Roy Pullum with me is to request funding for programs and services that the Salvation Army offers to our community. The Salvation Army has been actively seeking ways to help our neighbors in need, to eliminate toxic family stress, to help with food insecurity, and many other struggles that families face each and every day. We're able to accomplish this through the services and the programs that we provide, such as our soup kitchen, which we are renaming our fellowship kitchen, the food pantry, and our emergency social services programs. Our emergency social services programs are made up of many different programs, including the food pantry, but more on the financial end. So we help with utility assistance, we help with rental assistance, we help with lodging, and a few other miscellaneous financial items. This past Christmas season, this past holiday season, we were down quite a bit in our fundraising. Not just with our kettles, but across the board in all of our mail appeal, our white mail, our solicited and unsolicited income, and so that has affected our bottom line. We continue to seek funding as we can through grants and applications from other agencies and from the community to help us make up this shortfall. We've also lost our family store truck. Our family store's purpose is to support the services that we provide at our in our core, at the in social services and the soup kitchen and all those areas. Without a thrift store truck, we are unable to sustain the store as much as we should. It will affect their bottom line and can affect ours as well. Summertime is often a very difficult time for the Salvation Army. It's kind of a dry spell or a lean spell, but it is not a lean time for families in need. Often in the summertime, needs go up, especially if you have a family with children who have been in school and are now out of school for the summer and are needing extra. Your income is going to those extra things to help with maybe childcare or extra food in the summertime. In our current fiscal year, October, which started in October through the end of April, we've helped in the following ways. We've served over 13,000 meals from our soup kitchen. Our emergency social services programs have helped over 2,600 people. We've provided over 1,000 food boxes and assisted over 103 households with rent or utility assistance. Many of those people are coming to us for the first time in this year. We have people like Carol, not her real name, by the way, who comes to us daily for a meal and for a sense of fellowship. My office sits right outside of the room of the facility where our soup kitchen is housed, and I hear not only people getting a meal, but getting the fellowship that they need during this time. We also have a gentleman, we'll call him Thomas, who sleeps in his car and comes to us each day for a meal and a place to take a shower. We have the Jones family, who find themselves struggling to make a choice to put food on their table or to keep the lights on in their home. And these are just a few examples of the men and women and the families who come to us each and every day, feeling hopeless, but leaving with a sense of hope and reassurance that someone cares. Each dollar spent brings that hope. Each statistic is not just a number, but it is a person. So we are thankful for this opportunity to stand before you today, and we respectfully submit a request for $10,000 to help fund the Salvation Army. We are grateful for the assistance that you all have given to us in the past, and as you consider our request, know that you are not only helping an organization, but helping our neighbors in need.
Thank you, and I'll also add some context for our new members. As far as I know, the Salvation Army has never been on our yearly list of nonprofits that we support in some way. But then COVID hit, and during the height of the pandemic, Salvation Army's needs grew exponentially. People who were all of a sudden out of a job or greatly curtailed a job began to really inundate our local Salvation Army with requests for food and other items, and it really was something that the Salvation Army was not quite prepared for financially to all of a sudden have on their shoulders. And knowing that, I think last year we provided them some money, understanding that it was still a burden, an avalanche that they were trying to dig out from under. Unfortunately, even with, and correct me if I'm wrong, unfortunately, even with the end of the pandemic, they've still seen a sustained number of people coming to them daily for meals, which is concerning to me, but thank God the Salvation Army is there to at least provide this service, and they do it. Somehow they come up with the food necessary to feed people who show up at their door. And I have no doubt that inflation and other factors are driving down contributions as well. I think all nonprofits across the board have seen something similar. Very few nonprofits that I know of have the daily requirement almost to handle so many people who come to them for very basic services, including food. All to say, we did help them last year with all those circumstances taken into account. I have no doubt that the need continues. I hope it changes, but right now it's not, and there aren't too many organizations in town that I know of that provide the same level of basic street-level care for adults and kids and families. So, I'll, if you don't mind, Mr. Pullum, who's with us, anything you'd like to add to that?
Yes, I want to point out how desperate some of the need is with inflation. Hazel Book, who used to be our social worker, and incidentally, she was a fantastic social worker. She told me about one lady that her whole income for the month is $526. You try to keep a little house going and feed your family on $526, and you're a miracle worker. We have so many people that come that have very limited incomes. We have homeless that come to us. I go to the gathering place for my physical therapy, and sometimes I see people sleeping on the picnic tables up in the park, and those people come to us needing our help, and we feed them, and we clothe them. You know, a lot of people don't realize how many people come, and we take them over to the store and we get them clothes to put on their back, or children, or burnouts. We've given furniture. We put people up in local hotels when they've had a fire, or we go to floods. We are out there. We're not the people that are honking our horns, but we're the people that are in the crisis, and we will be there. Mother used to have a saying. She said, when we get company and we don't have a extra, we add water to the beans. We've added as much water as we can. We need some help.
Judge, if I might, I'm associated with the Salvation Army. I'm actually the chair. So I just wanted, you've seen on the agenda about the truck. We're without a very valuable piece of equipment that helps us sustain operations, because the store builds up, we can draw money out of the store fund to move it over for our soup kitchen, our fellowship kitchen. And we're still absent that truck, and the truck's been down for about 3 weeks, almost 4. And
Actually, since March 17th.
and what we got in the way of that insurance check wasn't no way going to cover the cost of that, because it's a big box truck with a lift gate and all that on it. So again, just to add insult to injury, that and I just read it was their request for the vehicle. The money is actually, I think, if you're asking for it, stop me if I'm wrong, but it's for the operations right now. That's the key thing. We got to get food on the table for those people that we come in and serve, and that's a community problem, is what it is. So we're doing a bigger service over there then I think people they look at more focus, maybe as just just that part of the town that we get a lot of walk-in business, because it is in the East End, and it is a majority of it, but the community as a whole we service them all.
If we don't have that truck now, it not only affects what we have not donated now, but if they call you and you can't go, then they figure out somebody else to give it to, and it affects our future. We've got to have the truck. Our truck is our survival in a store.
Any other discussion?
So, Bush, the truck is separate, two issues here, the truck and the
Well,
money request,
I just
right?
seen it was listed here.
Yeah, I saw that earlier, too.
But the money will be used for the total operation. It's not necessarily to purchase that truck.
Right.
You know, our key thing, and I think the major hit on it pretty good. Our bell ringing was down substantially, about 48,000. Then then to add our golf tournament, that usually carries us to the golf tournament, which is the first Monday in June. We had to push it out to September now. So then we had the truck that was crashed. So we definitely got to replace the truck. But this hopefully helps, definitely. But it's not just to purchase that truck. It's going to be for the operation of the Salvation Army. Our main purpose is to feed people and assist those that's less fortunate than us. So, did I answer the question?
Yeah.
I make a motion that we give.
Second.
Yeah.
Motion
I was
approving the
ready to.
$10,000.
Yep.
Yes,
sir.
We have a second.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion? We hope maybe this money will help free up some other cash to maybe address the truck with.
True.
Yeah,
You know,
so-
the key thing is just trying to get to, if our golf tournament's, I think, September.
September the 8th.
And so you got to get through that. You heard the numbers almost double and triple during the summer of who we're feeding in our fellowship kitchen. So
When school ends.
those numbers just, they triple just about. So that's a bump.
I will say that we are actively examining right now the way that we help fund nonprofits. We want to do it more efficiently and with a little bit more forethought. So in the next fiscal year, we should have a plan that changes a bit how we go about deciding how much and who. I will say that when that news comes out about that new process, please get involved in that and understand it. And so that way you don't have to come back at the end of every year and make these special requests. And hopefully the situation gets better too. So, just forewarned, I will be in the coming month appointing a little committee of fiscal court to look at all that and maybe come back with a recommendation. So, just FYI. But we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
I will have to abstain since I also serve with Butch on the board.
Do you need to abstain, Butch?
Yeah, after you get your eyes, I'm going to abstain.
Well, we only need 3, and I'll add my aye to that. So for those remaining, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I'll vote aye as well.
Abstain.
Okay. 2
Same here.
abstentions.
Abstentions, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys,
Thank
you're-
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
God
Roy.
bless you.
Okay, we have a couple appointments to the Board of Assessment Appeals. I saw Andrew Powell in earlier, but he slipped out. The Board of Assessment Appeals, every year, hears appeals from people who think their property valuation was incorrect in some fashion. We have one member rolling off, which is a city appointment. We have 2 other members, one of which is mine and one of which is all of you, who are resigning for a couple different reasons. So we need 3 new people. I believe the mayor is going to appoint his person tonight. I would offer as my appointment to the Board of Assessment Appeals, Ms. Tina Weiland, who's a retired realtor. People with that kind of background are good for this board. They meet once a year. It's and the appeals deadline for this year has come and gone without an applicant, so it'll be easy duty this year. But
What they also do is they review Andrew's valuation on his home. as well. So they're watchers of the watchers. So that'll be their main.
Yeah, and
duty this
they'll
year.
have a short meeting even without applications. But so I would offer up. This does not need a fiscal court vote, but I just want to offer up Tina Weiland, who is again a retired realtor, has some experience in this, and because we had relatively short notice to get these appointments made, I would offer to you, fiscal court members, as your appointee to this board, Mr. Howard Moran, who is former PVA, intimately involved in this, knowledgeable about this process. I talked to Howard. He said he will, in both cases, they will be finishing out terms of office, and he said whichever one is shortest, I'll be happy to help. If Andrew will have me, I talked to Andrew last night. He said that's fine. And again, this year they have no applicants, so it's not a big deal this year. But you will need to vote on Howard Moran as being your appointee to this board, and I would hope that would be satisfactory.
Yeah, I'd make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion about that?
So how long is this term for?
I believe 2 years.
Howard's would be
1 year.
next year.
Next year. He'll be happy with that.
Tina's will be 2 years.
And then we will come up with a new person next year as
Next
needed.
year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We now have a resolution. The detention center is going to be going for a grant to help upgrade the video arraignment equipment they have. And Jailer Todd, if you want to add to that at all?
Yes, sir. I've been talking to DOJ, and I thank Kurt for putting it on the agenda. It's for video arraignment upgrade. I know they're starting to see more court individuals personally, but this is a free upgrade, and we still do federal inmates out of state, and so I recommend that we upgrade our video equipment.
There's no match to this grant, so there's
Right.
no cost to us if they get it. Any questions about this?
Just for context, video arraignments were being done prior to COVID,
Right.
and the arraignment part will probably always be video as much as the judges can keep it. So there's a real need for
Right.
this because the technology's not perfect. So any upgrade will be very helpful.
And this should speed up the process, I would think, too, to get from where we're housing them through whether guilty or not guilty, the whole, which helps financially too.
Well,
Okay.
the big difference is whether they're transported from the jail to
Jail.
the courthouse. It would be the same day.
So same
either way,
day.
So it's
no-
not really going to speed
no-
it up.
Yeah, okay, so it doesn't actually speed that up.
It'll make court run more efficiently and make it easier on the jail as far as getting those arraignments done.
Some more
Because sometimes
day-to-day.
right now, they're
Gotcha.
having to wheel computers from cell to cell, which is
Gotcha.
strange and very hard to hear.
But it eliminates the transportation, so that's a plus,
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
for sure. And it don't cost us anything, that's a big
Right.
plus.
I was about to say, this is.
Free money.
Hopefully
yeah.
it doesn't cost us anything.
Right.
Yeah. I think, do we pay up front and they reimburse us, or is that right, Kurt? I've read this, but. it
One
don't-
way or the other,
it don't
getting it
matter.
back.
It's
No,
good.
everything's on them on this.
Okay.
So we need to,
Well, we have a resolution, and if the court doesn't mind reading the summary, would keep
Yeah,
Kurt having
that'd
to
be
read the
good.
whole thing. It's pretty basic, and basically giving permission for us to go get free money from state government, so I'm all about that.
Adoption of a resolution of the Henderson County Fiscal Court authorizing the filing of Kentucky House Bill HB1 jail arraignment equipment grant application up to $42,275 in HB1 project funds with the Department for Local Government. Authorizing and directing the Henderson County Judge Executive to execute any documents which are deemed necessary by DLG to carry out this project. And authorizing the Judge Executive to act as the authorized correspondent for this project.
Get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? If you want to stay up there while we have
Yep, thank you, gentlemen.
we have
Appreciate it.
4 resolutions handling the contracts that were bid out and approved by Fiscal Court at a couple meetings ago, and these resolutions will signal the agreement of Fiscal Court to move forward pending the contracts, which Steve is working on diligently to.
They're done?
Yeah.
They're done?
They're done.
Okay. I know we have a slight.
Lori and I have been working on it.
We appreciate
We have a
seeing-
slight tweak in the West Kentucky Correctional Health Care contract to more accurately bring into line our payment schedule that we need from them. But other than that, all good.
And as of when we walked in here earlier, we just got an email, the Kelwell food is okay being paid by check and not electronic. So,
Good deal.
Kurt, I've got new and clean copies of all those.
So it sounds like we have a contract agreement between County Attorney's Office, the jail, and our vendors. Is that
That's
accurate?
correct.
Yeah.
Approved as the form of
We
legality.
thank you, Steve and Kyle, for the diligent work on. on
Jail
this.
vendors are interesting to
Yeah,
deal
they-
with.
they're
really
different.
are.
So what we need to do, if you don't have any questions, I hope you had a chance to read these very brief resolutions. It's another step in getting these new vendors going for the new fiscal year starting July 1. And if you will be patient, Kurt will read these resolutions. And thankfully, they're all one-pagers and we can get them knocked out. So start where you would like, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, resolution authorizing Henderson County Jailer to execute agreement with Kelwell Commissary LLC for jail commissary services. Whereas the Henderson County Jailer has reviewed proposals for provision of commissary services at Henderson County Detention Center, and whereas after research and evaluation of proposals from various providers, the Jailer has identified and hereby recommends the services of Kelwell Commissary LLC for the provision of commissary services at the detention center. And whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court approves the recommendation of the Henderson County Jailer that attached agreement be approved. Now therefore be it resolved that the Henderson County Fiscal Court hereby authorizes Jailer Bruce Todd to bind the county to the terms of the attached agreement with Kelwell Commissary LLC for commissary services, and directs him to execute said agreement on behalf of the county along with any and all other necessary and appropriate documents required to effectuate the intent thereof.
Get a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Would Fiscal Court have any objection to the clerk reading the top summaries of each of these? The language is almost identical in each.
Each one is authorizing the jailer to sign and to bind the county on behalf of the fiscal court.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, resolution authorizing Henderson County Jailer to execute agreement with West Kentucky Correctional Health Care LLC for jail health care services.
Get a motion?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That was for healthcare services. Okay. Now, food services.
Resolution authorizing Henderson County Jailer to execute agreement with Kelwell Food Management for jail food services.
We have a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And finally, for telephone and video.
Resolution authorizing county judge executive. Are we going to have the judge executive execute this one or the jailer?
Maybe that one says judge executive. Y'all could rock, paper, scissors to see who signs.
Okay.
Whoever signs.
The only thing is the bottom paragraph
Yeah, bottom five.
authorizes the jailer.
We will
Yeah.
make the change.
Why don't you
Easy
make it
enough to fix.
the
Change it.
jailer executing the agreement
Yeah.
pending a correction at the top summary there?
Yeah. Resolution authorizing County Jailer Bruce Todd to execute agreement with Viapath Technologies for the provision of telephone, video visitation, and inmate tablets at the Henderson County Detention Center.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And I assume the motion is pending that correction? Yeah.
Correct.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Godspeed getting those put in
Yeah,
place.
we can breathe easier. And quick report, everything's going well. We still need employees. Anybody knows anybody needs a job, we could, like everybody else in the community. But guarding, we're we're fertilizing and tilling and get ready to plant sweet corn this week. So we'll have sweet corn and all pictures. I got pictures of our garden that looks well this year, and so we're excited about that. And again, we're going to feed Friday, Memorial Day, feed ambulance service. So y'all welcome to come out Friday at 11.
We, a couple of us visited out there a couple
Yeah,
weeks
I
ago
was-
for
I was under the weather. Sorry I
Correctional
missed you.
Officers Day, and that was fun. And I do sense a much better kind of atmosphere out at the jail among folks, just my opinion. And I met a new employee or returning employee yesterday, who's coming back in the fold,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
great to see.
Yeah.
I know we're getting to the end of the fiscal year, and it's been another tough fiscal year for the jail, and I know you are also doing everything you can to increase our relationship with federal government departments to maybe get more federal inmates in, which is a big source of revenue
But
for
we're
us.
kicking over every rock, finding
I
money.
mean, that's what it's going to take, and so good luck with that.
Yep.
And, any other questions?
Appreciate y'all's help.
Are state inmates coming back too, Bruce?
Huh?
Will we get more state inmates coming back
Yeah.
or filtering back?
Yeah, we are, and I've talked with Jeff Harrison, our mental health guy, this week. We'll sit down and talk about some other programs like SAP, which is a long-term, so we'll get a long-term investment, so we'll look at that.
Thank you.
Appreciate what you do. Thank you.
People are interested in getting a job. How do they go about doing that?
Just website or come out to the detention center and
They can download the
Take down
application on the website, or they can come to the jail and pick up.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you.
How short are we, Bruce, right now?
Well, we've cut some vacancies out of the budget, so we're probably in the range
Just
of
just
18.
ballpark, it just.
Yeah, I like to have about 18 more maybe, but somewhere in that area. But we're doing well. I mean, we're running good.
Thank you.
Staff's coming out helping a lot, so we'll get it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Tyler.
you.
At the last meeting, if you recall, we made appointments to the reapportionment committee. Their work is coming up soon. What we failed to do, and my fault, was actually establish their compensation. The state requires us to compensate them for their work. We budgeted $2,000 in the current year to handle that. It was our intention to pay each member of the committee $590. I think you had $500, and that's also my mistakes. $590, and then Chris Raymer from our GIS office, we're going to offer him $200 to help with all this, and that will get us in under budget, and hopefully it won't take too long. But we need a motion to approve that, please.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Again, that will get started soon, right, Renisa? Good deal. Next week. Excellent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I'll call County Engineer Nick Stallings up to make a recommendation on the Hatchet Mill Bridge replacement.
Good morning, folks.
Morning.
The Hatchet Mill numbers, they came back, over the last court, and they were quite a bit higher than what we typically see for bridges. So we only got 2 bids in. 4 or 5 of them met with me out on the bridge. Some of them said they got tied up and couldn't submit a bid. So, in interest of trying to look out for the budget, I'm going to recommend that we disregard these and then we rebid. And there's a few things I could do out there on the bridge, and we could do with our people. We're a lot cheaper. We're basically not for profit. So we don't have to worry about making a profit, basically. So there's some things we can do out on the bridge and kind of lighten the load of a contractor. There's some alignment issues that I could work on trying to help with the bid prices, and I think we'll get better numbers if we rebid this and open them next court date. So those are my recommendations, just to let you all know one came back at 263, and the other one came back at 299. So those are what the prices are that we have on the table for this bridge if we do not, rebid.
You also have below that a bid request for tandem dump truck, and you're asking to go out.
Yes, I was wanting to go out for a tandem truck. Our two tandems are two of the oldest that we have, and I would like to go ahead and try to go out for a bid. They're talking 14 to 15 months for delivery, so we're talking this is going to be a 2025 fiscal year. So it's nothing that we have to worry about right now as far as money-wise, but if we don't get on the table, we can never get it.
Right. So why don't we entertain a motion to both rebid Hatchet Mill and also bid out the tandem truck?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to rebid Hatchet Mill placement installation. And
Should we do them one at a time?
I think we can combine them. Minute-wise? Amend the motion to go
Yes,
out
sir.
to rebid for Hatchet Mill.
Yes, sir.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have a motion to bid out a tandem dump truck, which we might not get till the next century.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Nick?
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have our animal control reports. Looks like board chair is with us.
It's not listed, I'm sorry. She had a last minute thing, so good morning. First, I want to thank Steve. We had a very good training with all of animal control, Stacy, Melissa, and myself last week. Lasted a couple hours, so we did go through a lot of questions that they had, and it was a very good training, so thank you so much for doing that with them. Also, I want to thank the county for coming out and helping us remove the massive trees that have fallen all in the back, and they cleared out a bunch of the brush and some of the extra trees out there, so thank you so much for that. Just a few things. On the Humane Society side, I've shut down owner surrenders at this time. We just have too many animals in there. We're adopting them out quickly, but when they keep coming in, so I've shut down the owner surrender side so that we have room for strays that will come in. So, because we always try to keep 4 to 5 kennels open, especially coming into a holiday weekend, because it'll be mass chaos. So on that too, the shelter will be closed Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for the holiday. Animal control will be on emergency call only, and I have updated dispatch on that as well, so they know that. Other than that, the last thing I have is, you probably saw in your financials that there is a surplus in the budget. So I have budgeted that money out at the beginning of the year, and I think we had talked about this many times for a new truck. I'm getting closer. I have several people looking for me. Apparently, everybody bought a long bed work truck during COVID. So there is a shortage of them now. You can get really fancy ones, but not just a standard work truck that's a long bed. So if I buy a short bed, I'm gonna have to buy a new kennel with it, and that's very pricey. Those kennels get up to $10,000, $12,000. So my goal is just kind of wait it out. But that's what that surplus in the budget is. I budgeted that out for the year for that reasoning, because our other truck is getting really bad.
And that truck is specifically for animal control?
Yes.
So Steve, if because we're under contract for animal control and the city and county fund it, would this truck be subject to bid requirements if it's over $30,000? Which it probably will be, right?
I mean, our goal is to keep it under that because our surplus is $30,158.
I think since it's an operation primarily funded by government, that's probably under the procurement requirements, but I've never researched that, just to be honest with you, but I will.
For safety purposes, I can bring the bids to you if you want.
Well, if the cost is under $30,000, you don't have to bid it out.
Okay.
If it looks like it's going to be over $30,000, then we need to go through a little formal bidding process. It's not really complicated.
And there's probably a state contract for trucks like that, and if you can buy that through the county's state contract, there's
What that means is there are
The state.
dealers who have proven to the state that they will give trucks at a certain discount. And if you buy this truck through one of those approved dealers, you do not have to bid it out. You just got to buy it from one of them.
Okay.
And if you want a little help with that, just Nick is pretty familiar with it. Brenda is pretty familiar with it.
Okay.
And they can. There's an online list of the approved dealers, and so do some research. And if it's going to be under 30,000, it's not a problem.
Okay.
But if it's over, the quickest way is to go buy it on state contract, as they say. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into that and I'll reach out to Nick and see what we need to do with that.
I don't know that you'll find that there are any more of these long bed trucks available on state contract than there are anywhere else. But
And we would have to check to make sure whether they would qualify. There might be issues about whether they would have to run through fiscal court purchasing it on the state contract and then
Right.
transferring it to the animal control or maintaining title or something like that. There might be things we have to look at in that regard. And
Well, and if that's the
Brenda's more of
case
an expert
too-
about that than I am. so.
Yeah, I was gonna say in that, if that's the case too, you could just take it out of the budget for, you know what I mean? Like, we could figure that out. But I will, I'll do some research on that. I'm hoping to keep it under that, again, because that's what I've budgeted for that. A lot of times we try to find one that's low miles, that's used, or, you know, like on a certified warranty. And they normally last us, the truck currently was bought 8 years ago, when I joined the board, the first year that I was on the board. So they generally last us a good while, and so this one, just the transmission's going bad in it, so.
good luck. On another note, I'm really glad that this training happened.
Yes.
And I wasn't there, so I don't know exactly what was covered. But please
I think they
relay.
felt like they were drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah.
Because
You
I thought it was
please
all great
relay
information.
to our officers how much we appreciate them. One thing I hope you press upon them is customer relations is kind of 99.9% of any issue that arises between a citizen and animal control / humane society. And
Oh, yes.
I was informed of an incident, and it may be reported to me slightly incorrectly, but a citizen had taken upon themselves to corral 2 stray dogs that had been stray in the neighborhood for a while, brought them, according to this person, to Humane Society and approached an animal control officer saying, "These 2 stray dogs, here you go." And they were refused and told, if you take them back to the neighborhood, then I can go get them if they're still stray, which was confusing to the citizen and frustrating to them. This is relayed to me from city manager. And,
Do you know when this was?
Hmm?
Do you know when this occurred?
Oh, probably 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And again,
Had not
it's
heard
always
about this.
it's always interesting getting things secondhand. You never quite
Right.
know. But it would not be uncommon for that sort of miscommunication to happen. And some of it is, what are the regulations exactly about accepting 2 stray animals from a citizen who says they're strays, I picked them up. You know, I know sometimes the animal control officers would say, well, how do I know they're strays? How do I know you're just not dumping dogs? But
I mean, generally, we take somebody's word for that.
Yeah.
Now, we do have a lot of people that are like, well, I found this dog, I kept it for 6 months, or I kept it for a year, and now I don't want it anymore. And we're like, well, that's your dog. I mean,
Yeah.
so, possession, and correct me if I'm wrong, possession, generally, we look at it as 30 days. Like, if you've had that animal in your possession for 30 days or more, you now own that animal, which then would become an owner surrender side. So I will
Right.
double check on that. Buzzy did not call me on that. So I will double check and see what's happening on that specific situation. But we're getting a lot of that.
Yeah.
Somebody dropped a puppy off here. I took a puppy from a friend, that type of thing.
and then they realize it's work.
Yeah, a lot of work.
During COVID, that happened a lot.
Yes.
People got a dog, just comfort them, and then they realize 12 months later, oh my God, this is like having a kid.
Yes.
And I'm probably, it's probably certain that the situation you described of somebody catching these strays and hanging on to them a while and then deciding they didn't want them anymore might have been the situation there.
Yeah.
How
And-
we handle those interactions is always the key, right?
Well,
So-
I agree. I preach to them customer service all the time. Unfortunately, like, you can't say one way or the other if that's actually their animal or not.
Right.
And so you would just have to take their word for it, unfortunately. Like, I mean, it's not really I tell them all the time, it's not an easy job. It's stressful. The public is stressful, especially when you're dealing with animals, but you cannot assume anything about anyone.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be the judge and jury, right? So,
And trust me, I know on my end, from the complaints I get about a wide variety of things, it's hard to discern exactly what's true from one side of the story. So
right.
I get that. But
Yeah.
if we always strive to do the best we can, explaining to people and being respectful, and I think it heads off 90% of complaints.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Any
questions? I'm sorry, Judge.
Go ahead.
No, I hate to even bring this up, honestly, but I had a call, and I'm trying to think the subdivision is out going up Wathen Lane. And it's
Braxton Park.
Braxton Park, and they had a
Yes, know it well.
Well, you're probably familiar with, and I don't know if they had a pit bull up there that was running loose. I think.
Who else has had this call? Anybody raise their hand?
Well,
Everyone.
And
yes,
of course, I said you need to call it in, and see
Well,
if they
yeah.
can come out there and address it or try to.
We've addressed it multiple times.
Okay.
There is a plan in action. The problem is, by the time we get there, the dog's already back on the property.
Back on the property, yeah.
And we've told them a million times, please, like, if you can catch the dog, right? Like, we'll more than gladly come get it. We have talked to the owner a million times. Now she refuses to answer the door. Yes, I know every resident in the neighborhood at this point, so, or anybody that lives directly behind her.
Appreciate you.
And I hate to feel like every time
I'm not laughing at it, I'm just,
Well, no,
But it's, yeah. No. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we are dealing with it, or
We
at
can
the best of our
appreciate your
ability.
frustration, yeah.
Yeah,
We
and I
appreciate
also have animal control officers driving around there frequently.
Yeah.
So, like, when they're coming back from Evansville from the vet or whatever, like, they'll drive through just to see if they see it, but it generally stays in the backyard, and if it steps 1 foot, like, literally 1 foot over, yeah. And they don't even call us anymore.
Well, thank you, though.
Yeah.
Appreciate the effort.
Yeah.
I hate to feel like you're being part of an inquisition every time you come to Fiscal.
No, I know, and I felt
No.
bad because I said Kendra's here, and I'm going to have to ask about that.
Yeah,
I said,
no.
It's amazing how many times we get called.
Oh, I know.
About these, of all things, animal control is like among the top in the frequency of phone calls.
Well, and most of the time it's like, this dog's running loose again, this dog's running loose again, well, we get it, but by the time we get there, the dog's not there, and we can't, or the dog's on their property, or the dog's back in their house. I had an animal control officer, 2 police officers, somebody that runs a rescue in town, and another one of my staff chasing 2 dogs down the street for an hour the other day. They're like just circling the block, but if you can't catch them, you can't catch them. It's a problem.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. So, anything else?
Yeah, if you buy ribeyes out of the expired date bin at Sherway, that really works well too.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. Just throw those out there. We'll have every stray dog in town. So. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to the sheriff's monthly reports. You should have those in your packet. These are the normal monthly reports. Any other questions about that from Sheriff Stauffer? Anything you'd like to add?
I just want to thank the court for my sponsorship last night at the chamber dinner. I enjoyed it. It was a very nice program, so thank you all.
It was good seeing you there.
I enjoyed it. That was my first experience. Also, my first experience on the Henderson County Election Board last Tuesday. I had to say that for my colleague back there. She heard me say that about 3 dozen times on Election Day. But that went well, and that was a new experience for me. So,
any other comments about the reports? Typical stuff. Any other
Move
questions?
to accept.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Thank you,
opposed?
Chip.
Thanks, Chip.
Renisa, your report from the county clerk's office.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, Chip did a great job on the election board, as did the other board members. We had a great election. Turnout was about almost 11%. So it's just that election. The state primary race is just not, we don't get a big turnout. So anyway, but we did, the slow day allowed for us to tour all of the polling locations, or not all of them, but a few of them. And we did see a lot of people and talk to some election workers, and it went well. Everyone had a good day, and just a little slow.
Yeah,
So
that's just disappointing, as easy as you guys make it to be able to voice your opinion, you know?
I agree.
And make, I mean, it's.
100%.
Thank
So
you for what you do.
hopefully, thank you. Hopefully, the general will have a bigger turnout, hopefully.
I'm sure. Governor's
Yes.
race.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So today I have the payments to the county for the month of April 2023. I have excess fees for the month in the amount of $92,316.04, with a total being $141,460.30.
And I believe this puts Renisa over her revenue budget for the year, which is always a good thing when you
Good
meet
thing.
those expectations. Good job.
Move to accept.
Second.
Motion is second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Please pass along our congratulations to your team for a very smooth election night. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gold, your report.
Got several checks, Judge. First, an interest check in the amount of $22.32, a flow-through from the city, $458.33. Aflac reimbursement, $203.66. Dental and life in the amount of $508.21 and $13.89. Health insurance, $8,077 and $649. Another interest check, $39.71, bringing today's total to $9,972.12. And the fiscal year total to date, $204,454.64.
Need a motion to accept county attorney payments?
Motion to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we've got a couple typical year-end, year-beginning items to take care of. LGA public hearing and County Road Aid public hearing. I'll ask Treasurer Ryder to come up. First, I'll entertain a motion to go into public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are now in public hearing, and I'll turn it over to Treasurer Ryder.
Henderson County anticipates the receipt of LGEA, Local Government Economic Assistance Funds, for fiscal year '24 to be approximately $739,878. These funds will be used for general health, sanitation, public safety, and social services. The revenue breakdown, the majority revenue breakdown for this is $115,000 from waste hauling franchise fees, $311,500 from mineral severance tax, $294,977.30 fund transfer from the general fund to the LGEA fund. Appropriations, while this list is not all-inclusive, consist of volunteer fire departments, 911 communication center, landfill, Canoe Creek maintenance, Humane Society, senior citizens programs, human rights, shelter for women and children, and the Henderson Music Preservation.
Any other members of our audience would like to make any statements on LGEA funding for next year? With that, I'll entertain a motion to go back into regular meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are now back into regular meeting. And now we go into the next one. I'll entertain a motion to go into public hearing over county road aid for the county.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are now in public hearing for county road aid.
Henderson County anticipates the receipt of county road aid funds to be approximately $1,430,373. These funds are primarily funded by state motor fuel taxes and should be used for the construction, reconstruction, and maintenance of county roads. Distribution of fuel taxes is based on population, road mileage, and land area of the county. The distribution of this revenue to be expected, approximately 60% to be received August 2023, 30 to 35% to be received January 2024, and the remaining to be received July of 2024. Other sources of county road funds are from truck license distributions from the state and fund transfers from the general fund to the road fund.
Any member of the audience like to make any public statements on county road aid? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to go out of public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Back in regular meeting. Thank you for patience there. And with that, I'm very pleased to say that we're ready to have our first reading of next fiscal year's budget. I appreciate everybody's hard work on this. It went smoothly. Not always the case, but it was good. There was good discussion at the workshop. And as you know, we have done some work needed to make certain that our employees' health insurance premiums will not increase next year. And I appreciate the help of Brenda Ryder and Angela Comer in working through those numbers to make certain we can do that. And I know all of our employees will appreciate that, as well as the department heads who are trying to fit some of this money into their budgets. So good work to all involved, and thank you to the department heads and other elected officials. So with that, we'll have first reading.
This is the first reading of proposed budget for fiscal year 2024. The proposed budget is presented balanced in respect to each fund. The total budget is $33,913,189.35. The fund breakdown of revenues with corresponding appropriations are general fund, $10,574,487.03. Road fund, $5,525,756.70. Jail fund, $8,663,300.58. LGEA fund, local government economic assistance, $739,878. State grants fund, $1,240,700. Federal grants fund, 0. Economic development fund, $110,000. Clerk SB 135, which is clerk permanent storage fund, $21,000. Employee health insurance, $2,163,768. Opioid settlement fund, $31,328. ARPA fund, which is the American Rescue Plan Act, $4,842,971.04. Again, the total amount for the fiscal year 24 budget is $33,913,189.35.
We'll need a motion to accept first reading.
Judge, I would move that we approve the first reading of the budget.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Outstanding work. Thank you.
I need to also ask you for approval on the annual standing orders to pre-approve monthly expenses, which is part of the budget packet. And these pre-approval monthly expenses consist of payroll, utilities, grants, which is state, federal, and ARPA funds, phone, which is land and cell phones, and employee health insurance, which is premiums and claims.
For our new members, explain standing orders. There are some things that we just pay every month, the typical stuff, and this keeps us from having to approve these every single month. The state allows this. It's called standing orders. For instance, our payroll. So that's what this is all about. So a motion to approve standing orders.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other questions about that? I want to make sure you fully understand what you're voting on.
We're good.
Good deal.
Seems like a best practice to me.
Yeah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have second reading of budget amendment as well.
This is second reading of budget amendment number 8 for the current fiscal year. This is amending into the current fiscal year budget additional receipts of $700,000 from the general fund prior year carryover, with the corresponding expenditure appropriation being insurance premium claims payments. Again, the total amount of this budget amendment is $700,000.
More specifically, this is taking money from our health insurance rainy day fund and using it to cover our costs this year, which you know have been significantly higher than budgeted. So,
Well, it's moving it from the general fund into the health insurance fund to take care of that.
yeah. Any other questions? Entertain a
Move to
motion.
approve.
Second?
Yeah, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Good
All those
job.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Bill.
I just said good job.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, now, fund transfers.
Fund transfers you have received, and they are as presented, and this is redistributing appropriations within the existing budget.
And again, we're getting down to the end of the fiscal year, so we're moving money around to make sure that we have enough money in each line item. We cannot spend money out of line items that are in the red, so this is what we do as we go along. And any questions about that? Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the transfers. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And claims, Treasurer?
You have received your claims, and you have received bank balances after paying claims today. Your day-to-day appropriations should be at approximately 91%. I do have additional claims. From the general fund to HHO Carbon Clean Systems, $3,040. This is for fleet carbon cleaning, which for the Sheriff's Department, and which included 32 vehicles, and is from the Sheriff's Repair Vehicle Appropriation Line. To Axon Enterprises, $50,000. This is for 29 tasers and accessories, which was approved in previous meetings and is to come from the Sheriff's Office Supplies Appropriation Line. To business equipment in the amount of $1,293. This is for office supplies for the sheriff and is to come from the Sheriff's Office Supply Appropriation Line. To KCCA, $1,600. This is for clerk conference registration and is to come from the Clerk Conferences Training Appropriation Line. From the jail fund to Republic Services, $612.60. This is for monthly services to come from the Contracted Services Appropriation Line. That's all.
Any other questions about claims? I know the Finance Committee met yesterday. Any other comments on claims?
No, we're just finishing the year. I said no. Let me say this. We're finishing the year very strong, and I can't compliment the judge and all the court and all the elected officials for the job you've done this year. It's just incredible to end up like we have. It's a good feeling.
Knock on wood. A month to go, but it looks good. Our general fund expenses are at 81%, and typically they would be
Should be at 90, approximately 91%. right now.
9% under budget on expenses in the general fund.
And Judge, I would move that we pay the claims.
Okay. Before we forget, right? Before we get too far down the way.
Yeah, I got it.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you,
Thank
Butch. That happened last meeting, didn't it? Got a little far afield. Anyway, great job. I think that you're going to be very happy with the way our fiscal year ends. We're going to have, there's some obligations out there for economic development projects, among other things, so we're still going to be in a very, very strong position, even after potentially paying those. Yeah, we have an old business. We have a slight correction to make. Well, not a slight one. We approved David Williams serving again on the Planning Commission. It was not David. It was Kevin Richards.
It was close. Sound kind of like it.
I'd like to amend the appointment to reflect that it is Kevin Richard and not David Williams, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Thank you very much. David Williams would have been surprised to hear of his reappointment to the Planning Commission. So we have a motion and a second. It's my appointment, but I'll still run this through y'all. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I could blame it on all of you then if he asked me about that. We're gonna go to executive session, and we don't anticipate any votes coming out of that executive session. But before we go into anybody else have anything good to the county?
All right, good news for Master Berry. As of right now, they're almost done with all the coal mine crossings being paved. So it was yesterday when we went out there and milled all of them, and then finished up this morning. I went out there right before I came to court, double check, make sure the mix is going on the ground. That just wasn't, a lot of hype, but it was actually real. So it's going down, and so that should be, District 1 should be taken care of for a couple of years then, I guess.
Good deal.
Good deal.
Good deal. Hey, Nick, did you get my message about the mosquitoes a while ago? Okay. Just, I know that's a little bit different.
You
but
got them out of your house already?
No. Somebody, I got a message since we've been in court.
Yeah. I was thinking about that last night. Anybody else for good of the county? Magistrate Southern, anything good of the county?
All's good in District 3.
Magistrate Tompkins, after that brief remark,
Yeah,
anything good of the county?
just real quickly, friendly reminder for all those that are watching and have farmer friends, when you're burning corn stalks and stuff, be careful. We're burning up culverts, causing roads to collapse and things like that. We want to be good partners, but that requires a two-way street. So that's happened twice in my district. So we want to make sure that that's done carefully. And other than that, I'm good.
Gotcha. Okay. Master Putman?
Thank you, Judge. Just, again, it's such a pleasure to work with this court. Again, I see when the need in the community is whatever it be, monetary or help or volunteer, that this court comes through. We do the right thing and the good thing for the people we represent. And other than that, all is good in the fourth.
Mr. Gold, I'll go with you.
Just want to let everybody know that the child support division for our office is going to be finally, after several months of planning it, moving to 505 Clutie Park Plaza at the end of this week. So for the public, getting payments Thursday and Friday will be open to the public for payments Thursday and a good chunk of Friday, but we're going to be moving those couple of days, and that office at 505 Clutie Park Plaza is going to be right across the street from the Cabinet for Health and Family Services Food Stamp, Medicaid, and Welfare Office. So it should be convenient to a lot of the people that both of those offices serve. So just wanted to let everybody know that. As a lot of you all know, I've been griping to the state for about 15 years for additional funding to be able to hire folks, and they finally came through with it, and then we thought, oh goodness, we don't have anywhere to put them. So that's one of the reasons we're going out there, and it's going to be a better situation all around, and it's going to be easier for some budgeting things that we've dealt with Brenda on as far as trying to get reimbursement from the state for a few things. So it's going to be a positive thing all around. But please, the public that's dealing with us, bear with us, particularly Thursday and Friday. We hope to be fully open to the public on Tuesday. And wish everybody a good Memorial Day. Happy Memorial.
Master Berry.
Thank you, Judge. I don't have any better news than what Nick just passed along for anybody. That my phone may not ring nearly as much after those coal mine crossings are done, and they needed to be done for years. And I really appreciate the work on that, Nick. I know you put in a lot of time on that. Everybody out there is going to be happy with the crossings, so that's good news, great news. I think everything's better in District 1 now. Thank you, Judge. That's all.
Master Starks.
Judge, thank you, and thank everybody for being here and for those watching. And it's an exciting time to be on the court. And, this is Taylor and I's first time through the budget process. I know I speak for myself. It was such a educational process. You did such a great job presenting that during the workshop and then working and tweaking it. So now that we cover our employees with their health needs, and We can do a lot of other things. This is not just a continuation type budget. It's balanced, does not call for any new taxes, but yet we're going to do some very important things for our community. So you need to feel, I feel, taxpayers can feel very confident in how their monies are being spent all throughout the county and the various agencies. And again, I just want to say thanks to all the department heads, the elected officials that work with us to make this all a very living document that's going to actually have implications for years to come. We're making improvements to our judicial center. We're helping out 911 and just helping out in all types of ways, and especially roads and bridges out in the county that well needed. So just in a nutshell, just want to say thanks for making this, and it helps to, that people are out there paying their taxes on time. So we appreciate those folks too. That's what it all takes. Memorial Day is, of course, this coming weekend. Encourage folks to come down to the park. Thanks to the American Legion, the War Foundation, and all their helpers. I think North Middle School came down. It's a living tribute. There's not very many communities that can boast the type of appreciation that we give to those who lay down their lives so we can do what we do every day. So if you haven't been down to the park, I'd encourage you to do that, and certainly come down Monday for the service that'll be taking place. It is the last day of school, I think, or very soon.
Tomorrow?
Next,
Wednesday,
okay.
I believe it.
Being out of the radio business, I've kind of lost track a little bit, but I just want to encourage folks to be careful, watch out for our young people. That's going to, they're going to be here, there, and yon, especially in neighborhoods. Always keep that speed down, but around parks and things like that. But get out, have a safe, well-deserved summer break, especially to our education friends. And again, thanks to Renisa and all the Board of Elections for the hard work last Tuesday. Again, even though there weren't very many people that took part in it, it was still a very well-run election, and everything was there for them if they wanted to participate. And so with all that, again, thanks for letting me a part of something like this. I remember I had a zero budget when I was the chairman of the Rose Curtain Player theater group back in high school. Now dealing with millions of dollars, it is, the weight of that doesn't escape me, but you guys made it very, and gals, really appreciate Brenda and everyone for all their help. And with that, thank you for indulging me.
Thank you, Manager Starks, and those comments, much appreciated, I'm sure, by everybody. Again, congratulations to Reese and her team. We have the best county clerk's election team in the state, as far as I'm concerned. A couple notes. We mentioned Memorial Day service is Monday, I believe 10 a.m. is when they start typically. Please join that group. Last Saturday's long list of events happening in Henderson County was really impressive. Lots of people downtown. It was a fun day, and we appreciate everybody who helped make that happen. Red Banks is celebrating its 50th anniversary this Friday, and they're going to have an open house in the morning, 9 to 12, come and go open house. In case you didn't know, the origin of Red Banks was an initiative of Henderson County Fiscal Court led by Judge John Stanley Hoffman, and safe to say that has been a boon to the community for 5 decades now. So swing by, and if you got time, say thanks to the gang at Red Banks. If you recall, we were left a series of requests from Boys and Girls Club in a single document last meeting. I would ask for you to review those again, and we might discuss it next fiscal court meeting to see what the will of the court is. But just a little bit of a poke on that one. Please review it and be thinking about it. I think that this happened since our last meeting. We had a delegation from the Czech Republic. Did I discuss that before? We have a sister region relationship with a region in Czech Republic called Olomouc, and it's through the Green River Area Development District that we forged that relationship. And they had their regional governor come in with one of his council members and also their tourism director, and they're all new except for the tourism director. He had been here before. They toured our downtown. I took them around the community a bit before they had to head out. They absolutely impressed with our community. They asked lots of questions about how do we keep such a small city so vibrant, because they are experiencing a decline in their small cities in amenities and other quality of life things, because people are beginning to flock more to the larger cities, and it's a problem for them. And they were really impressed with how Henderson is conducting itself, and there may or may not be apples to apples comparison between what they do and what we do, but they were very, very impressed and asked a whole bunch of questions. So I just thought you'd like to know that, and they are very appreciative of the relationship. Hope we can continue that. With that, I appreciate everybody being here. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session based on KRS 61.811G.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? We will go into executive session in my conference room, and Tom Williams and Missy Vanderpool and Whitney Risley, please join us.